it's the 9th.
Ninth.
Next Sunday, it's at my house.
A week from this Sunday.
Everybody, it's a week from this Sunday, thank you. Everybody's invited. We'll do some business stuff to catch up, but also I feel like it's just a chance for us to get together and talk and get to know each other, because it's wonderful. We spend a lot of time in silence and we talk a little here, but it'll be more of an opportunity. It's 10 to 1. And if you can come in person, come. And then the 16th, I think, is the next monthly all-day sitting. And you want to make an announcement?
About the all-day sit or the bag lunch?
Bag lunch, I thought, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, today is the bag lunch at after Sandokai at Ellen's house, and everyone is invited.
So we're going to do a shared screen. We're going to chant. We've been studying the Sandokai. Let's not put it up quite this minute. I want to say something. The harmony of difference and equality. So the harmony of difference and equality is it's a Mahayana teaching that in this Zen tradition is it's one of the most revered. It's a poem written by Sekito Kisen, China, I think it's 8th century. The question always is then, what's that have to do with now? What's that have to do with our lives? And I was thinking as I was sitting and walking, or thoughts were coming, the Mahayana tradition is trying to look for the right word. The Bodhisattva is the Bodhisattva ideal, and that's what this poem is about. A Bodhisattva knows that this very life is deeply, as Suzuki Roshi would say, is interdependency, interdependent with the entire world. So that we take care of this very life because this is the particular of and this moment and what needs to be taken care of. But we also simultaneously, and that's what Zazen in practice is, know that everything is interconnected beyond anything we can even begin to imagine or know. We kind of taste it or have that heart feeling about it. So that we are always, as we take care of ourselves in this world by always referencing and asking. I remember someone said to me, actually Norman Fisher, what a bodhisattva knows is emptiness. And me being who I am, I thought, I don't want emptiness. I want to do something. I want to help. But how we help, how we be is what matters. Because otherwise, we're just in our own little karmic wheel, which is where we always are. I mean, I've got a self, you've got a self, we're reacting, we're figuring things out, we're doing things. Please, let's do that. But while we do it, let's always remember that, and that's what we'll be talking about more today, is everything is co-arising and co-mingling and co-creating. And so how we be, how we keep coming back to basic aspiration to be a vehicle of caring for ourselves and the whole world is what bodhisattvas do. So this is great. We are born in such a great time to be doing this. It's like bodhisattvas just like delight, okay? Yummy, yummy, yummy. How are we going to do this one? So I would encourage you while we chant the harmony of difference and equality, it's not words out there, just to enter it. It's a poem. To feel it in your body, to just feel and taste the words as we chant it. You don't have to understand it. Okay? Harmony of difference and equality. The mind of the great sage of India is intimately transmitted from west to east, while human faculties are sharp or dull. The way has no northern or southern ancestors. The spiritual source shines clear in the light. The branching streams flow on in the dark. Grasping at things is surely delusion. According with sameness is still not enlightenment. All the objects of the senses interact and yet do not. Interacting brings involvement. Otherwise, each keeps its place. Sights vary in quality and form. Sounds differ as pleasing or harsh. Refined and common speech come together in the dark. Clear and murky phrases are distinguished in the light. The four elements return to their natures, just as a child returns to its mother. Fire heats, wind moves, water wets, earth is solid, eye and sights, ear and sounds, nose and smells, tongue and taste. Thus with each and everything, depending on these roots, the leaves spread forth, trunk branches share the essence, revered in common, each has its speech. In the light there is darkness, but do not take it as darkness. In the dark there is light, but do not see it as light. Light and dark oppose one another like the front and back-footed walking. Each of the myriad things has its merit expressed according to function and place. Phenomena exist, box and lid fit, principle responds, arrow points meet. Hearing the words, understand the meaning. Do not set up standards on your own. If you do not understand the way right before you, how will you know the path as you walk? Progress is not a matter of far or near, but if you are confused, mountains and rivers block your way. I respectfully urge you who study the mystery, do not pass your days and nights in vain. You could chant that every day. You could put it on your narrator too. You could. So we are we're using Suzuki Roshi's commentary, Branching Streams Flow in the Darkness. And I'm following the order of his talks. And we are on talk number 7, but we did talk number 6 on Tuesday, so I want to do a little going backwards and coming forward, so we're all finding our way together, warm hand to warm hand. Talk 6. The 4 elements return to their natures just as a child turns to its mother. Fire heats, wind moves, water wets, earth is solid. The subtitle that Michael Winger and Mel Weissman, who compiled the commentary, have named this, "The Boat is Always Moving." So the Sandokai and the teachings are seeing reality from 2 sides, independence and dependence. Independence is like the 4 elements. I mean, fire is fire, right? Fire is not water. Water is water. Water wets. Earth is solid. And each is momentarily coming into existence out of vast, emptiness always sounds a little sterile to me, out of the vast womb of the Tathagata. That's language I love. It's like each moment is giving birth, and everything is arising and passing and falling and interdependent and co-mingling. Its energy and its potential and its readiness. Each thing is Buddha nature. Each thing is love. Each thing is creativity, the creative, whatever you want to call it. It's just matter is, I can't remember, I don't know who said this, but matter and consciousness, matter and spirit, are seen to exist on a continuum. Matter, that's matter. Matter is earth. Matter is wonderful, but it's a little slow and it's a little dense. You know, it's like we're always trying to figure things out when this co-emergence from the consciousness, from the womb of everything, is flashing in and out of existence, and then we're just sort of following along like a little dog following a scent, going, what was that? And then trying to do whatever we're going to do with it. Or I watched Saturday Night Live last night. They had a great thing on dogs. I'm sorry. It's really important to laugh these days. It was really funny. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but that just came up. So it's a little bit like water and ice. Water, they're the same, but they're different manifestations. So we spent some time on Tuesday talking about it. It was really interesting to me, and I hope to you. At the end of Talk 6, Suzuki Roshi talked about the difference between when you see a situation when someone seems to be hurting another person or hurting something. And what's the difference between being upset emotionally, which you can taste it. It kind of has a sticky feeling to it. There's a meanness in it. But then he says there's something we're not bypassing. This is not a spiritual transcendent practice. This is being right here in the midst of it. He says, Suzuki Roshi on authority, Buddha may be upset quite easily when you see someone hurting someone or something, in the sense of being deeply affected, but it's not because of your attachments. I mean, of course we're attached. We're always, it's like, I pay attention. I can tell when I'm triggered, come back. But to be deeply affected by seeing something being hurt or someone being hurt. If you're not upset then, that would be a violation of the precepts. Isn't that interesting? Precepts are our bodhisattva vows. So when you need to be angry, be angry. The precepts say don't harbor ill will. That's the stickiness of it. It's like it's grabbing a hold of it and you're walking around with your bludgeon. But if anger arises, when it comes from a pure mind, from purity like a lotus, it's good. So what's the appropriate response is always the question. And if you think you have some appropriate response and then you try to do the same thing the next moment, you've already missed it. It's presence. That's why Zazen is such a beautiful practice. You're grounded, you're upright, belly strong, and wide open. The heart's open. The head's aligned on the body. Breath. There's a great quote from Suzuki Roshi. Wherever you are one with the clouds and one with the sun and the stars. You are one with everything. That is more than I can say and more true than you can hear. Our path is being here. Our path is deeply feeling. Felt, sense, alive. Deeply feeling our own emotions and being deeply affected by what happens. Suzuki Roshi again says, when each being includes the whole world, then each being is actually independent and interdependent. So Bodhisattva, the vows are, how can I be here with everybody? And how can we each help each other to aspire and be the world that we all know is possible? So here's talk 7, because now we completely understand talk 6, right? I figure there's no problem of ever going backwards, because I've been going, I love the backward step. You just keep over and over, and each time it's like, huh? And then it's like, oh. It's like walking through light rain or fog, and it just goes in a little deeper. And it often bypasses the cognition. So here's the phrases from talk 7. Eye and sight, ear and sound, nose and smell, tongue and taste. Thus for each and everything depending on these roots the leaf spread forth. Trunk and branches share the essence, revered and common. Each has its speech. I'm going to do that again. Eye and sight, ear and sound, nose and smell, tongue and taste, subject and object. Thus for each and everything depending on these roots the leaf spread forth. Everything grows out of the deep womb. Everything is. Trunk and branches share the essence. Everything shares the same essence. Revered and common, each has its speech. The way it was subtitled, without any idea of attachment, just to sit is our way. Rebecca Solnit does a great commentary, as I understand it, about liberals, that nobody ever rests long enough to just acknowledge anything good happened. It's like we're always on to the next problem. But maybe there's a little bit of that in each one of us. So we just never stop and rest, because when we do, then there's just gratitude, and there's wonder, and there's possibility, because it's alive. So the 4 elements combine and recombine in different ways, but they're always moving. Always creating a new world. That's how Sandokai is, things as it is. So do is everything is one. Everything is empty, everything is interconnected. And it takes the form of san, the many. This, just this, just this, just that, depending on what your relationship to. But san is how do is expressed. When you see the world through those eyes, through bodhisattva eyes, it brings it back and close and intimate. And then there's response and there's care. I looked up this morning, let me see if I can find it here where I put it, because Suzuki Roshi goes on, maybe I'll just go on. So we become attached only when we see things through san. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty attached these days. I'm seeing lots of things that I don't like. let me read you what Suzuki Roshi says about precepts. The Buddhist way is, in one word, jihi, compassion. I'm on page 100. Jihi means to encourage people when they are feeling positive and also to help them get rid of their suffering. That is true love. It is not just to give something or to receive something or to observe precepts or rules that we practice our way. We practice our way with things as they naturally occur, going with people, suffering with them, helping to relieve their suffering, and encouraging them to go on and on. This is how we observe the precepts. We see something, but we do not see something. We always feel the oneness of the subjective and objective worlds, the oneness of eye and form, the oneness of tongue and taste, so we don't have to attach to something in a special way. Thus, for each and everything, depending on these roots, the leaves spread forth. Eyes, nose, tongue, ear, sight, smell, taste, and hearing, these are all dharmas. And each dharma is rooted in the absolute, which is Buddha nature. Each thing is an expression of Buddha nature. When observing many things, you should look beyond their appearance and know how each thing exists. Because of the root, we exist. Because of the absolute Buddha nature, we exist. Understanding things in this way, we have oneness, which is where compassion arises from, which is where we, from a place of practice, is you notice. You taste your words, you taste your thoughts. Ooh, there's a little sticky stuff in there. You might be noticing that. No judgment, you just come back. It's always right here. Take a breath and then see what happens next. So in worldly terms, there is coarse and rough and there is refined. These distinctions exist in the world. Everything has its place. And at the same time, it's connected to the root and the source. And the more that we come back to the source, the more we can manifest and be that and encourage that in our relationships with others. I looked up, this is what I was going to say, is Dogen has a fascicle called the four Bodhisattva guidances, the four guidances of the Bodhisattva, something like that. And one of it is, because it seems to me there's been a fair amount, I would claim both probably inside in my own reactivity and out there in terms of what I would call cruel speech. Dogen talks about kind speech. You should ponder the fact that kind speech is not just praising the merit of others. It has the power to turn the destiny of the nation. Mm. But then it's important to ask, what is kind speech? Because it's not just being nice. So what is, if a child was about to put their hand on a hot burner, you wouldn't probably say, oh sweetie, that's not a good idea. You would say, stop. It would be kind. You don't want that person to get hurt. And then you take the next step and the next step and the next step. So there's difference, there's a celebration of difference, it accepts judgment and discrimination, because difference is fundamental in the world. Don't take up some idea and make your own standards about what this is talking about. Like, it's like, what's the situation need? Where is your body? Where is your heart? Where is your valve? Where is your breath? So it teaches to make judgments when judgments are needed, to help discern, to help care for, but we don't stick to it. Enter. Compassionate activity. Here I am. Complete, wholehearted activity. So how do we disagree without bitterness, without resentment? How do we be in conflict? How do we do that and know that everything shares the same essence? How do we keep returning to, my good friend Sue Moon called it big love. I marked another thing here and let me, so Suzuki Roshi says, precepts, Bodhisattva precepts. Yes, there is right and wrong. The most important thing is keeping tolerance, love, open-mindedness, and open-heartedness. These values are more important than any kind of moral rules. And don't just stand there, say something. Or don't say something. It's an ongoing question. What's the appropriate response? So, sometimes we will be angry, and sometimes we will smile. It's great to have teachings like this at this time. I find this so helpful. Sometimes we will be mad at our friends, and sometimes we will give them a kind word. But actually what we are doing is just observing our way. What we actually are doing is just observing our way. We cannot explain it so well, but I think you must understand what I mean. The Buddha is always here waiting for you. Oh, welcome home. You're out there wandering in the wilderness a little bit there. Oh, Buddha will say, oh, come here. Good for you. Come nearer to me. I have some more things for you. It is very hard to surpass this teaching. Thank goodness for practice. Thank goodness for Sangha. Thank goodness for good spiritual friends. Thank goodness for the world being exactly as it is, although we could wish that it was a little closer to the way that we can imagine. And here we are. So I'm going to read you again this quote from Suzuki Roshi about compassion. We practice our way with things as they naturally occur, going with people, suffering with them, helping to relieve their suffering, and encouraging them to go on and on. This is how we observe the precepts. We see something, but we do not see something. We always feel the oneness of the subjective and objective worlds, the oneness of eye and form, the oneness of tongue and taste. We don't have to attach to something in a special way. When we observe the many things, we should look beyond their appearance and know how each thing exists. Because of the roots we exist, Because of absolute Buddha nature we exist. Understanding things this way, we have oneness. Suzuki Roshi calls this things as it is. And everybody said, was that just because he didn't understand English, they didn't say things as they are? And nobody knows, but what he said is, things as it is. Kindness. Without some idea or setting up some standard of your own. What is kindness? You don't have to figure it out or know, but why don't we just get in small groups and you can talk about any of this. And, but you might want to explore what is this kindness that is the way of the Bodhisattva. Okay? Okay, and you're going to have maybe 15, 10, 12, something like that minutes. I'm going to put you guys in small groups.